Friends, fellows, countrymen, what you see here is the intro video to Exhibition Mode in NCAA Football 14 for the Xbox 360. And what you just saw there was the words "Sis Boom Hip Hoorah," which are technically a part of the song "I'm a Jayhawk," the fight song of the Kansas Jayhawks, but any KU fan probably isn't really going to know that because we don't really sing our fight song. We just sort of clap along to it. We have like a clapping breakdown. It's this weird thing. KU is the only school I know where people do that. A lot of other places they like sing along, and we just don't. So we never really teach anybody the words. So not a lot of people know the words. Like for instance, did you know that we called out Texas Tech in the middle of our fight song? Yeah, apparently we do. It's a weird song, but we go in NCAA 14. Our quarterback Jake Heaps, number 9, fumbles on the first play of the game. He was a transfer from BYU. Everybody thought he was going to be the new hotness for KU, and he turned out just to be okay. And started a couple games, then got benched by the end of the 2013 season. Taking on West Virginia in NCAA 14 with the original rosters, not with the updated rosters, because this is one of my favorite games that I remember as a student. It was my freshman year, my first year, and my first Big 12 win as a Kansas fan. Or not as a Kansas fan, as a Kansas student, rather. The first of 3. Just 3 in my entire 4-year career as a Kansas. So I guess this is the 5th year. So, fingers crossed for another one, but I'll believe it when I see it. When even Baylor's been bad this year, but man, so is KU. We'll see how that goes. We're going against West Virginia this weekend, and I'm not optimistic, as you can tell by my tone of voice there. We run mesh here, and we get a pass here to number 8, who I can't remember the names of half of the receivers on this team because they were just not great. There were so many dropped passes, and that's one of the reasons why Jake Heaps was not the best quarterback, was because he didn't really have the receiving talent around him to make him the starter, which is why more mobile quarterbacks moved in after him, and we started running the ball more. We had this guy number 29, James Sims, who was this great running back. He got like 200 yards racked up against West Virginia in this game in 2013. A windy day, I remember. Then that's kind of why their pass game didn't really work. Their quarterback was a guy named Clint Trickett, who you may remember if you've seen the Last Chance U series of documentaries on Netflix. He is a quarterback coach, or he was a quarterback coach at the school portrayed in those series. I almost said cast as the quarterback coach, but he wasn't cast. It was just his job. It was a documentary. It was real life. We go the option there, the read option rather, overpowered in this game, but is actually effectively handled here. In NCAA Football 14, that should have been intercepted, by the way. NCAA Football 14 was a great game, but it was also, everybody knew as it was coming out, it was the last NCAA game, and that was so sad to see, just to know, like, oh, this was, because you played it, and it's like, this is genuinely one of the best games I've ever played, and it was also one of the last, or it was the last football game. You still see roster updates for it. We scored there with James Sims in the second quarter, so I'm going to bring you back here. This was probably my favorite play as a student at KU, was this play by James Sims, about a 60-yard rush for the touchdown, 30 seconds left to go in the second quarter rather, and I remember that so specifically because I was on the sideline about to run on for the halftime show. I was in the band, still am, and he scored there. I was at eye level pretty much with that, and I just saw him get the ball and go, and I lost him, but I was like, I know he's scoring, and I was so excited. One of the best moments I remember, one of the best games I remember. It was just one of those few really like happy moments that you get in the past 5 years of KU football. Not a lot of wins, but the ones that come, they're few and far between, but they're certainly memorable. And I've got, I got stories about all of them. As my girl Carly Rae Jepsen would say, we don't even have to try. It's always a good time, and it is always a good time. Here we throw the ball on the right side of the field. It's dropped, and I'm even going to have a good time when it comes this weekend against West Virginia, because they are going to completely maul us. I would say this is going to be probably a 40-point loss for the Jayhawks, unfortunately. They're just not a good team this year. They've shown in the past 2 games an inability to score points on offense and an inability to stop anybody on defense. Both of those are a problem. Both of those are a very, very big problem. West Virginia is a competent passing offense, and even competent passing offenses have been racking up yards on KU. Central Michigan had no trouble. Ohio didn't even really have trouble. They're not even a pass-first team. They're a run-first team, and they scored how many points on KU? I don't even want to remember. But we still got to play the game this weekend. I'm not excited, but I'm excited to be there. I'm not excited to see the game because it wears you down after a while to see these guys who are trying hard that it's just not falling their way. It might be coaching. There's a lot of anger in the fan base that the coaches and the athletic director now is kind of on the hot seat if this season doesn't turn around, and I really don't foresee it turning around. But you never know. We run to the end zone here. This is kind of weird. I think we get it there, but apparently we don't. And then we go here, and I think we get it there too, and apparently we don't. So we have to throw the ball on 3rd and goal. I just want to get the ball in the end zone so that there's no question of whether or not we cross the plane, and we do, and he's wide open there. And that's Jermaine Mundine, which gives me the opportunity to talk about Jermaine Mundine, who is a great tight end for KU. One of the most fun players I can ever remember watching because he just had this, glide to him. His stride was just so much fun to watch because he was that is the coolest guy on the football field. And he had this spin move that was effortless, and he scored several touchdowns in 2014, probably the best offensive player in 2014. And he was a great player. We get the interception here. Another fun thing in NCAA Football 14 was this ball hawk. I call it it's like a ball hawk tactic, I guess. It was just, they called it that. It was really just improvement on how to intercept passes. You would just go there. It was very simple. Oh, ball's coming my way, hit the Y button, and they would jump up and make a play on the ball. It was fun, and we go into the end zone there with number 25, the halfback, who I think was Brandon Bourbon, who was a guy who unfortunately last year passed away. Very sad story. There's just a couple of dour stories here, unfortunately, in this episode, because Clint Trickett, as I mentioned earlier, he ended up retiring from football because he got so many head injuries that it was starting to take a toll on his, I guess, his mental well-being or something. And unfortunately, that's a story we're starting to see more in football. Luckily, we're starting to pick it up more, and people are starting to take precautionary measures like that. So he retired from at 24, but he's coaching now. I'm happy for him. He was a good guy for what it seems. West Virginia fans seem to like him a lot, and this unfortunately is I've actually heard West Virginia fans talk about this game, and they don't talk about it very well, understandably, because it was a loss. But to be the one team in conference that loses to KU in the span of between 2011 and 2013, 3 straight seasons, to be the one team that loses to KU is not a record you necessarily want on your team. We kneel down there, get the 2-touchdown victory, not that unlike the game in 2013. It was completely in hand. I think it was 31-16, I want to say. I don't remember for sure, though. And that, James Sims, 104 yards, 2 touchdowns. Great player, one of my favorite guys to watch. He was the guy who I got there and I was like, I like that guy, because he was running, getting chunks of 6-7 yards pretty much every play. Just a really fun player to watch. And I'll see you guys on Saturday. Again, I'm not optimistic. I'm pretty sure this will not be happening. Now, if they do win, there's going to be some posts torn down because there's no reason the KU should beat West Virginia this Saturday. But if they do, hope springs eternal. But unfortunately, for the most part, logic wins out, and I don't think it's going to be a good game. Still, I'm going to be there. I'm going to have fun. And thank you guys so much for watching this. If you want to hear me talk more about KU football or just sports or just life in general, you can go to the podcast at gettogethernetwork.com, 4th and Inches, that we update that weekly. Footballhell.net, that's where I'm trying to do some sports writing stuff. I also have joebush.net, which is my name followed by the word .net, which is just kind of whatever I feel like writing down on a blog. Thank you guys so much for watching here, and as far as I know, that's all.